Hey, everybody, welcome back. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode on Love How Deep. We're excited that you're listening and hopefully you've, subscribed to everything
Yes,
and are sharing this with your friends and family. Hopefully you're finding some good tools that you can use and things like that. So just to help you become a better person and for your marriage to be as strong as God wants it to be, right? Isn't
yes.
that what it's about?
That's exactly what it's
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So
I
to,
find
oh,
that when you and I do these things, I think
mhm.
it really just helps us as we're talking
I
through
think it
some things.
does.
We just kind of learn
I
and,
think it does.
you know,
I'm just going to take a moment. I'm going to hit the pause button here because I'm distracted
by my
by
collar.
no, 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 by something on his shirt. So I'm just going to
Okay.
take care of that right
All
quick. All right.
right.
And now we're back on track.
She's always looking out for me.
I try.
Yeah.
He says I'm momming him. Like, whatever. He didn't even know that was there. Okay.
All right.
Happy sneak peek into our
Yes.
world. All right. So today we're going to talk to you about money. Oh my gosh. Like, I love it. I love talking about, money because I feel like we
Mhm.
have a good grasp on it. And hopefully we're going to give you some
Yeah.
financial hacks. So
Yeah.
these are some quick financial hacks for married couples.
Right. Yeah. We're
It's
not perfect with money, but
no,
I think that it is one of our strong suits. I feel
it
like
is.
we've gotten a pretty good handle on it.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. And I think so much of that comes from my past
mm,
of just growing up with not a lot of money,
yeah.
and my parents were just very diligent about budgeting things
Mhm.
and teaching me how to do that. And I learned so much from that. And then, in my previous life, like, my previous marriage and stuff like that, I was left with a mountain of debt.
Mhm.
Thank you to all of that mess, but I was left with a
Mhm.
mountain of debt. And so how am I going to survive off of the what pennies I made, like literal pennies that I was making, and as a single woman at that point too. But when we were married, it was really bad. And then when I was single, it was really bad. And,
Mm.
we've together, we've had our moments of financial hardships and, where it's like, you came to me and you're like, babe, we have $80 left in the bank till
Mhm.
payday in a few weeks.
And it's
So
like a week away or whatever.
we're down
Yeah.
to ramen noodles with
Mhm.
us and our daughter. We're down to like eating the mac and cheese or
Yeah.
something, like just canned chicken, like whatever,
Mhm.
because we needed food.
Yeah.
But, what he's saying is like, we're not having anything fancy tonight. Like it's going to be spaghetti every night kind of a
Mhm.
thing. And that was okay. I mean, we knew that God was carrying us through.
That's right. Yeah.
We
And one
knew that.
thing I will say too, you just kind of hit upon it. When we first met and we were dating, uh, you wanted me to help you with your taxes, and we went to the library. We went to the little kitty table.
I
I
think
don't know
he
if
thought
that
it was a
was
date. No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding.
I think it was because
We
our
did.
daughter was with us and she was
Yeah.
picking out some books or whatever, and I
Yeah.
was helping you with taxes
Kind of
and
kept her
yeah,
busy and all
yeah,
of that,
yeah.
entertained.
And
So
so,
you saw how little I made.
right, I saw how little you made, and then that really
Scary.
said to me, wow, like somehow, some way she's really figuring this out. Obviously, it was God, but at
Yeah.
the same time, I think it was you
I
too
had to
that
learn how to
was just
budget.
figuring out how to take care of it. And a lot of
Hmm.
that probably did come from your childhood,
I
and
think
your
so.
parents and your family didn't have a whole lot. And
Yeah.
so, but
Yeah.
y'all seemed to figure it out. So,
Thanks, mom and dad.
yeah, exactly. Right.
You taught me all
Yeah.
about budgeting,
Yeah.
and it's stuck. It's
Yeah.
stuck. And so,
Yeah.
but yeah, sometimes when the budget is tight, like you need to figure out some financial hacks, and you're
Mhm.
so used to maybe living a certain way
Mhm.
or getting that Starbucks every day, or eating out all of the time. Like you're so
Mhm.
used to that. That is your habit. And
Yeah.
we totally get that. We totally understand that.
Mhm.
But sometimes we have to know how to cut back, and maybe this will maybe kind of spark some things in your mind like, yeah, I could cut back that one thing. I could try that one thing and see if that really helps kind of get us over that hump.
Yeah,
So that's
definitely.
that's what we're here to talk about
So
today.
yeah, it's really just going to
Yeah.
be kind of a laundry list of tips, and hopefully
Yeah.
some of these you probably heard of, maybe some you've tried, maybe some
Mhm.
you haven't. So, take what you will from this list and try to implement some of these
Yeah,
things. I think it'll be very
absolutely.
helpful to you. And I guess we can start off with the first one would be, you know, doing some meal planning, meal prep. This is not
Yes.
something that we've been real great at, but we keep
No.
talking about it. And
We do talk about it all the
so,
time,
yeah,
and then it doesn't happen. And
right.
so what do we do?
Yeah.
When we don't meal
So,
plan, what happens to us?
right. Then you have this potential to like, oh, let's go out tonight, or
Mhm.
maybe you're at work and it's lunchtime and you're like, I didn't bring anything, so I'm just going to go out to eat or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's so much easier to do those types of things if you don't plan ahead.
Yeah.
And so I think it's really important. Really, after this episode, I would love for you and I to do a little bit more of this, where maybe I mean, Sunday sounds like the appropriate day to really, okay, let's plan out the week. What are
Right.
the meals we want to have? What are the ingredients we need? And then, potentially we can start to put some things together, do some cutting and,
Right.
bring some things together. And,
But to at
yeah.
least like plan out what your meals are going to be for the week and then make that grocery list of the foods that you need to buy.
Mhm.
That's going to help you stay on track budget wise because you've got all the food in the house versus going out to eat where you spend a lot more or doing like we've done for the last 10 years.
Mhm.
I'm telling on us
Yeah.
10 years that it's like I'll go and buy something to make one dish and then that's gone. And then it's like, oh, he'll text me, do you need me to run to the grocery store to pick up something? And so he comes home with a box of crackers, chicken salad, a little like cheese tray. It's kind of like we have a little bougie charcuterie, oh, and some
Yeah.
blueberries. I mean, we're getting some healthy stuff
Yeah.
in there too. Or we just eat a salad, but it's like that last minute, like grab and go, grab and go,
Mhm.
grab and go. Where if he and I actually planned a meal, all right, we're going to make spaghetti, we make a massive pot of spaghetti. It's going to last 2 meals, maybe 3 meals, leftovers for lunch, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Your kids can get involved in this too. And I love that my sister recently told me that when she meal plans, because she realized they were eating out way too much. So they started meal planning. She got the kids involved. She got 3 kids at home. And so
That's good.
and a husband, she looks at him, she's like, what do you want for dinner? Spaghetti, done. What do you want for dinner? Chicken tacos, done. And then so
Love
the
that.
3 kids and the husband all
That's
come up with a
awesome.
meal and then she'll come up with 1 or 2 more and they still eat out,
Mhm.
but they're saving money because they're eating at
Yeah.
home and she's getting the kids involved. And so then
Yeah.
they like the food and then they're like, oh, what time's dinner? I'm going to come in and help chop vegetables or whatever. Like, I think it's great. And
It's
I
good
would
stuff.
love to hear if they'll try
Mhm.
that,
Yeah.
get the
That's
family
good.
involved in that and save
Mhm.
money that way. And like I said, leftovers, pack them up for the kids. You
Mhm.
want leftover spaghetti? Here you go,
Yeah.
but like not eating out every meal.
Mhm.
That's kind of
It's good
kind
stuff.
of a big
Yeah.
deal. Yeah.
We probably beat this one to death, and we got plenty
I
more
think
that we're
we
gonna
did.
do.
I think we
So,
did. I just think it's a
yeah.
good one, and it's one that we're
Yeah.
finally jumping back into
Mhm.
because our meals of our little charcuterie has just been like, yeah,
Yeah.
we're done. We're tired of it. Like, don't show me a
Alright.
piece of cheese. I don't want it.
Right.
So we are meal planning in a much
Alright.
better way. So, all right.
What else are we
Yeah.
gonna do?
Another tip is maybe sometimes you need to shop at a secondhand store.
Yeah.
Case in point, we moved from Florida to Virginia. And the winters in Florida, 70 degrees, balmy,
Mhm.
lovely. You're wearing short sleeves. And, I remember swimming on Christmas Day growing up one year.
Yeah.
Yeah, now we're in Virginia. Welcome to Virginia, where you're going to get snowed in for days.
Although that's
Not
changed.
recently, but the year we moved
Yeah.
here, like we froze, not one jacket in or like warm,
Mhm.
heavy coat, no gloves, no scarf, nothing. We froze and all we knew was sunny Florida.
Mhm.
So, to go and buy that much clothing for the 3 of us, like that's a lot. Even if
Mhm.
we're shopping at the inexpensive box stores, it's still a lot.
Yeah.
So we went to Goodwill.
Yeah,
We
and I will
stocked up on
say,
things at Goodwill, didn't we?
yeah, I was shocked that
Mhm.
you can actually find some things that are new that have never been worn that still have the
That's true.
tags on
That's
them
true.
or very lightly used. I always kind of had something against doing that, and
Right.
when I went in
Somebody
there
else
and
has
actually
worn
really
this,
said, you
like
know what, let me look, let me really kind of do my due diligence and check this
yeah.
out, I was actually pretty pleasantly surprised.
I know. I know. It
You
really
know?
was surprising because I never thought that I would do that.
Mhm.
I know we sound kind of snobby, but we broke down like we did it because we were frozen. We were little popsicles,
Mhm.
and all of us needed sweaters. Is really what we needed were some good
Yeah.
sweaters and things like that. And so that's just I guess a hack there is to maybe go secondhand and that sort
Mhm.
of thing.
Yeah.
Another thing is that Maybe you need some new things for your house and you can shop at a secondhand store for that. Maybe put a little coat of paint on it. Maybe what you have could last a little longer if you bought new covers for those throw pillows, because covers are a whole lot less expensive on that online shopping thing that we all love. Starts with an A. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Like you can buy all those and recover your pillows for decorative purposes versus buying whole new ones and paying that price. Or you could maybe fix up the furniture that you do have, the things that you do have in your house that maybe need a little, get the little stain pens
Mhm.
out or scrub a few things or whatever, just some other ways
Yeah.
to save money until you actually have the money
Mhm.
to make some big purchase items like that.
Yep.
So yeah, secondhand stores, and we've
Mhm.
done a lot of shopping at secondhand stores for
Yeah.
furniture,
Right.
and we've taken
Just
what
takes
we
a little
bought.
elbow grease,
It does. It does. Sand it down, repaint it, restain it, put new knobs on that thing, and it's like it's custom then because you just changed out the knobs. It's
That's right.
custom.
Yeah, and
I
there's
love
probably,
that.
there's all kinds of YouTube videos that
Oh
you
my
can
gosh.
find, and how
Yes.
do I, renovate this piece of furniture and bring it
Yes.
back to life? And I
Yeah.
mean, yeah, lots
Yeah.
of great things there. So,
My favorite is taking the old barn door
mhm.
that we found at an antique store,
Mm,
painting and scrubbing and cleaning and
yeah.
turning it sideways. It became the headboard of the guest room.
Mhm. Yeah.
But one of the other things I wanted to mention that you could, it's not really second. I mean, I don't know if it goes with secondhand store or whatever, but when we built our house, I no longer wanted the Tuscany vibe of, y'all know what I'm talking about, the
Mhm.
reds and the golds and the deep, heavy everything. I wanted the light, bright, and airy, like French country. I love farmhouse. I wanted
Mhm.
blues and ivories and all those lovely things, and which I have, except that I would have to throw out everything that I own and go purchase all new
Mhm.
everything. And I was like, the tightwad inside of me was crying. And so I
Mhm.
got out the craft paint and I took my big gigantic candlesticks and I took like not mirrors, picture frames and everything. I even took canisters that our coffee is in and I decoratively painted these things and sanded and painted some
Mhm.
more and changed color. So I saved all that money because I've had these things for years. The style was still trendy, but the color was not.
Mhm.
Simple hacks.
Yeah.
YouTube videos, they'll teach you how to do it. I love it.
Yep. And
Yeah.
that's not my thing, but it's your thing, and
I
that's
love
awesome.
it.
So,
Yes.
our next hack, we won't spend a lot of time on this because it's quite similar to really the first one, but it kind of involves being better with food and eating
Mm-hmm.
out. But I mean, coffee at home, that's probably a big one because I mean, now at the time we're recording this episode, I mean, you could probably spend $6 for a cup of coffee, and sit, treat yourself every once in a while.
Yeah,
Yes. We're
sure.
not telling you like don't do any of these things, but what we're saying is, if you're doing that, 5 times a week, times 4 times, or 4 weeks a month, I mean, you're looking
I
at,
want to add that up.
I think you're looking at $120 a month. And you think
Ooh,
about that might be your electric
coffee.
bill or maybe your
That's so
cable
true.
bill. I don't know.
Such a
So,
good point.
you know,
Yeah,
so I
it's
think the
true.
key there is maybe, if you don't want to completely stop doing that, just maybe it's once a week or maybe it's once every couple of weeks,
Right. And drink your
just need to
coffee at
back off.
home
Yeah.
or, even we have one of those like little espresso machine things. And so
Hmm.
we'll use that sometimes and make our own little, like what do you call them, latte or,
Hmm.
fancy fruity,
Yeah.
something at home. You can do those at home as well. But, just think about that and how much money you're spending when you do eat
Hmm.
out and when you visit places like that make the fancy bougie coffees.
Yeah.
So,
Yep.
mhm,
And your
mhm.
wallet will thank you,
Yeah.
your stomach and your body will thank you as well. So
Yeah, there's a lot
yeah.
of junk in those things,
Yep.
but they are tasty.
Yep. All
Yeah,
right. The next one's gonna be
yeah.
an interesting one. You wanna
This is a big one. Tithing.
Yeah.
I was gonna try to intro it some cool way, but I got nothing.
And you're probably like, wait,
Tithing,
financial hack?
financial hacks.
That's a way to save
Yes,
money? Well, we'll
yes,
talk about it.
yes. Because like when we were talking about in the beginning of this episode, how I was literally making pennies. During one of those times when I was just making pennies and I was a single woman when I was diagnosed with cancer and I couldn't work. People
Mm.
would give me money to help me. I had no insurance. Like there was not like there's no disability at my job. Like there was nothing, nothing. And how was I going to pay for all this stuff? And how was I going to survive? And how was I going to live in my house? By the way, I was still paying all of the bills left over from my previous life. So
Mhm.
just imagine the stress. So we but I continue to tithe. Like my
And we should explain, what is a tithe and
yeah,
who does
so
it
it's
go to? I mean, in case
that's
somebody doesn't
true.
know what
That's
this
true.
is.
So what you're doing, like the Bible says that you need to give the first fruit of your I'm gonna mess it up,
Mm.
offerings to the Lord. I totally
Yeah.
messed that up. My gosh, it's not like what I'm talking about. I will confess I'm terrible at memory things. I just my brain, yeah.
Oh,
Okay.
perfect.
But bring the fold. He's got it on the sheet of paper. I just found it.
Yeah.
He's
So if she
awesome.
looks down, that's
That's
what
what I'm
you're,
doing. I'm looking at notes, y'all, that I can
yeah.
hardly read because whatever. Okay. Okay. Back on track. Bring the full tithe into the storehouse that there may be food in my house and thereby put me to the test, says the Lord of hosts. If I will not open the windows of heaven for you and pour down for you a blessing until there is no more need. And so I love a couple of things about that verse. It says the full tithe, which tithe means a tenth of
Mhm.
whatever it is. So to the storehouse, because back then it might be your chickens that lay eggs. That might be that like that's your livelihood right there. Maybe you're selling eggs and you bring that to the storehouse. Maybe your
Mhm.
animals, your grains, whatever it is, you're bringing that tenth to God. And He says He's going to take care of you. And He also says test me in this. Does it say anywhere else in the Bible to test God? Like,
Mm.
I mean, we all question him sometimes. I'll be honest, like I have many times. But he says right there to test him. He's saying, just do it and see if I don't take care of you, because
Right.
that's the God I am.
Mhm.
And he says, I'm going to open the windows from heaven for you. Now, that doesn't mean that he's going to give you that, Corvette that you want. That's not what he's
Hmm.
saying. He says he's going to take care of you. He might just give you what you need to fix the current car you have. That's what all of that means.
Yeah.
But he says to test him, and he says to also, each one must give as he has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. So
Yeah.
you might think, fine, you might have a grumbly heart of like, whatever God says, fine, I'll do it. But he wants a cheerful giver. He doesn't want someone sitting back saying, fine, I'm doing it because you said I had to. Like, that's the child inside of us. You know that when you were told to stand in the corner when you were a kid, you're like, well, in my mind, I'm standing. Okay, right? God doesn't want you to be that kind of a giver. He wants you to give cheerfully and just say, God, I'm bringing this to you because your word says to, and your word says you're going to take care of me. I trust you, God. I trust you. And I have like the cheerful heart about you. Like God's going to see that and he's going to take care of you. And to go back to like my story, like he took care of me. So anytime a check would come in the mail from sweet, loving friends, like just because they knew what my situation was, I tithed on that. I had a family, the parents of a student that I was teaching, they just it was laid on their heart to just send me $100 a month, and they did.
Mm.
So I would open the mail and get and see that check and just cry and just thank God for it, and then I
Mm.
would cash it, and then $10 was going to my church because and it wasn't like I was not the one earning that money, but that was my income, and so I truly felt like that's what I needed to do. And so anytime anything was blessed me financially, I was tithing off of that. And I truly, truly believe that is what carried me through because during that time, I was never in need. I was never in want. Like, yeah, during that time, I was on food stamps. I had, I can't remember the government agency that paid a couple of my bills. They take care of water bills and stuff. What is that agency? I don't know.
Mhm.
It's my brain, I'm telling you. Anyway, several bills are paid. My church is calling me to say someone has anonymously asked to pay your XYZ bill. Could you bring it in? I'm like,
Mhm.
oh my gosh, like, which broke my heart because I wanted to say thank you, but it's fine. But there were so many ways that God came through, and I'm not going to sit over here and say, none of that would have happened if I hadn't tithed off of that $100 that somebody sent to me. I'm not going to say that, but I don't want to test God in that way. I'm just going to do what he says and let the heavens open up.
Yeah.
And I just believe the windows of heaven opened up for
Mhm.
me. I just urge you to do it, to try it.
Mhm.
Sorry, it's one of my soapboxes.
Yeah, right. And
Okay.
I think too, we had a pastor that said to us, would you rather have 100% of your money cursed or 90% of your money blessed? And so I
That's
was
so
like, oh, that
true.
makes sense, But
Totally does.
again, even though it is a commandment, God
Mm-hmm.
does want us to do it kind of just cheerfully and because we want to. And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
we would say for you, if you're in this kind of grumbly mode of like, I'm not doing that or whatever, just continue to pray about it
Mm-hmm.
and ask God to maybe soften your heart.
Yeah. I agree.
So anyway, I know we could probably go on and on about that one, but it's very
I know.
important.
I think that
So
might be
yeah,
another episode that we've
yeah.
probably already done. I have no
Yeah.
idea. So that's take
So
two.
yeah.
What
So
else you got? You got
another
something?
thing that you can do is go to the library.
Yes.
Books. There's also videos. I'll never forget several years ago, we just had this idea of let's see what kind of videos they have. And we found this movie. It's not Christian, but it was called Mad Money. And it was with Queen Latifah and Katie Holmes. And
That's a cute
it was
movie.
a cute movie and kind of funny and pretty well put together, well acted. And it was like, it was like, wow, we kind of hit upon one that seemed to be pretty interesting to us. So, yeah, there's not only just books, but there's videos. I'm trying to think of there's probably other things I mean, they have a lot of services and a lot of different things you can
Yeah,
do. You can get on the computer there if you need to, which,
that's
um,
true. And
but,
what I like about that is, I mean, you're saving money because you're not buying the books.
hmm.
And once upon a time, our library had a magazine app. So you didn't even
Mm.
have to buy magazines. You
Oh,
could just go on
right.
there and see them. And so we were excited because we were getting ready to get on a
Hmm.
plane, like
Yeah,
a
I
plane,
forgot
like,
about that.
yeah. And so we had magazines to look through. So you're not paying for a subscription. You're not paying for the books by the authors that you love, and you can also download a library app and you can check out books. And so I'm reading books all the time
Hmm.
on the it's called Libby app for my
Hmm.
library. And all the time, and it's free. So it is another just really kind of a hack to save some money, because I do like to read. And so if you're one of those out there you like to read, or maybe you want to see what kind of movies are in the library, or you like movies, you want to see what's in the library there for that.
Hmm.
Um, Things for your kids too. That's just
Yeah,
that's right there in the community, right there for you.
yeah. It's
And
kind of a cool. I
be
mean, it
fun.
could even be a little
Yeah, everybody go to the
dating
library.
thing.
Yeah,
I mean, you
yeah.
have to, be quiet. We're not there to, make a lot of noise. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
so yeah,
You can also do a cash envelope system.
that's
So,
another hack.
yep,
Yes.
is another hack. So that you are saving money that way because you know where your money's going. And you
Hmm.
run that card. Y'all know this is true. You run that card. You don't really have a good track of
Hmm.
what you spend. When you were writing checks before we had all this credit card stuff, we're writing checks and we're using cash. You're entering it into your little checkbook thing. I don't even know if they make those anymore. You knew what you had. You knew because you had to stay on top of those things. And now it's just so easy. You're like, just tap it or whatever it is, we don't really keep track of it as well as we used to. I've known so many people who agree that we just don't keep track the way that we used to. And so if you want to get back into that as part of a budgeting or something, you can do an envelope method that this is how much we're going to spend for eating out this month. And if you spend it all within 2 weeks, then the other 2 weeks, you're not eating out, right? This is how much we have for fun to go, I don't know, spend. I want to go shopping for clothes. Like I just do. And so this is how much I have. It's in my envelope. And so I know. And when that runs out, it's gone.
Yeah.
And every month you just replenish it. What else could you put in the envelope method to kind of keep track? Maybe your Starbucks money is in there too.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Almost just about anything you can think
Anything.
of. I
Mhm.
mean, you could even if you're just really terrible with money. I mean, you could literally take your entire paycheck and put it in an envelope and then kind of like, okay, here's my electric and here's the,
Mm-hmm.
and obviously you can't pay your electric bill with cash, but maybe when it's due, you could convert it back. And that's probably a lot of work, but
Yeah.
I would say only maybe really only need to do that if you're just, if you're really bad with money and you've noticed like every month I get to the end of the month and all of a sudden I can't pay my electric bill or whatever. So you
Right.
can be
That
as
it's there.
creative with it as you want and do as many things
Yeah.
as you want with it.
But I definitely
Um,
think that you need to know like how much money
yeah,
you have available to
yeah,
you, and the envelope method of kind of that free money of like free money
mhm,
that has like it doesn't need to go to a bill or whatever. You want to make sure that you don't overspend. That's
mhm.
a really a good way to do
Yeah.
that.
There is research that says that when you use a card, you do tend to spend a little bit more because, again, it is more like, oh, you go to McDonald's or wherever and "Oh, yeah, I'll upsize or yeah, I'll do that. But, if you're pulling that cash out, you're a little bit less likely to be like, yeah, sure, I'll
It's
take
true.
that or, that
That's
kind of
true.
thing. So,
You just know
um,
it helps you to be it helps you a lot when you can be a better planner, and that's
mhm,
one way to plan for that. And
yeah.
if you really struggle financially, there's a
Hmm.
lot of organizations out there like Financial Peace, Dave Ramsey, lots of books, lots of programs that can help you create a
Yeah.
budget. I know that's a bad word to
Yeah.
everybody. They're like, well, I don't want to
Hmm.
be on a budget.
Yeah.
But sometimes we just
Mhm.
need to be.
That's
So,
true.
hmm
Now,
hmm
this next one, I'm almost hesitating to say this one because I feel like it kind of flies in the face of what we just talked about. So we're going to talk about this real briefly and then we'll move on. But um, credit cards have like a cash back reward system. And again, if it any reason that you feel like this is not going to work for me, it's just going to cause me problems and I'm going to spend more, then yeah, it's not worth it. But if you can be very diligent and simply use the card for exactly what you need and don't go overboard and don't upsize the meal, that kind of thing, then getting 1% back or 2% back, I mean, could be helpful. We do it, and typically what we do is we'll use it for a hotel or a rental car or something if we're traveling at Christmas time
Right.
or whatever. But again, you know, kind of hesitate to really push this one too much
I know.
because, and Dave Ramsey, as you just mentioned him, he
He'd
is
say don't
like,
do
do
it.
not do this.
Mm-mm.
Number 8 is all about just getting an insurance checkup. Just like, okay, let's look at our homeowners insurance. Let's look at like, for example, our homeowners insurance actually just went up like 300 or 400 bucks a year. I haven't had a chance to like look at it.
What?
I'm assuming it's not a problem. I think it just happened, but the issue there is we really probably need to like, okay, let's shop around. Let's figure this
That
out.
is
That's
true.
kind of what the point
So
of
you're
that one
talking about
is.
shopping around for all
Shopping
the yeah, yeah,
around with
yeah.
it,
I gotcha.
car insurance,
Yes.
homeowners insurance.
Yes.
Things are real competitive now
Yeah,
when it comes to that. Even health insurance. I mean, if you have it
that's
through your
true.
employer, then obviously you're kind of limited. But for me, I'm a self-employed, so
You have
I
to
have a
shop
lot of
around every year for
opportunity
that.
to shop around. So yeah, and you can save a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yeah.
You know,
No, that's good.
I
That's
mean,
okay.
and it's not all about money. I mean, you have to obviously make sure, what kind of coverage am I getting? What's the deductible? That kind of thing. So if something does happen,
Mm-hmm.
how much am I going to have to pay out for this? So you got to kind of weigh that one out. But, it doesn't hurt to check around and shop around for that because
Yeah.
those can be some pretty big expenses for sure.
Yeah.
Um, the next one,
I think that everyone should do automatic transfers to high yield savings account.
right?
I don't even know what it's
Yeah.
go for it. It's on you.
Basically,
It's on you,
that's
babe.
where, if your paycheck, you put it into your checking account. I believe banks can set it up to where like you can have 1%. We have a money market, like a savings account. I believe we could automatically have, 1% of that or 2% of that kind of automatically moved over to the savings. It's similar to
Oh,
like the 401k retirement where you have the company take some money and it just kind of automatically goes out. You don't even really see it.
is it making some money for me?
Yeah.
Can I go
Right.
shopping? Okay.
No, the point of a savings account really would be like
Oh, yeah, yeah. These are hacks so
emergency
that I'm not
fund.
shopping. Yes, I got you.
Right.
Yes, yes.
She's getting
You.
it.
I know I'm being really kind of silly because
Yeah.
I'm tired. I don't know.
Mhm. Yeah.
Actually, I'm hungry.
Okay. Well, we'll do something very quickly after we're done with this episode. So we've only got a couple more to go. You want to do the next one? Take a day or a weekend,
Go for it.
and
Are you ready to introduce
she's
it?
really just,
Yeah. I feel like my brain is shutting down.
yeah.
I don't know.
So
I need to eat.
probably just like the people that are watching this, they're about ready to go click. So no, planning a no spend day or maybe a weekend where you don't spend any money. It's like, you know what, this weekend's going to be all about, we're going to find fun things to do around the house. We're going to
Okay.
maybe get
Yeah.
out and go for walks or,
I like it. Play a game together, watch
right.
movies together,
Yeah.
pop that popcorn,
Yeah.
and we're not,
And you could maybe make a
not
game
spending
out of it.
money.
Like, hey, did you, have you spent any money today? No, I haven't. Okay, good. I haven't either. So
Maybe the
we're
whole
doing
family
well.
gets involved and they all they all kind of come to the table with
Mhm.
like a game that you want to play or something that you want to do. And if your little one says, I want to play hide and go seek, well, let's go play hide and go
Mhm.
seek.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like,
Mhm.
just whatever it is. But,
Yep.
get the family involved in something like
Right.
that.
Could be that. Yeah.
I like that.
Yep.
And then
And
you've
then
got
the
on here
last
to
one.
trade services.
Yeah. So the
I'm going to
last
guess.
one.
Can I guess?
Yeah.
Can I guess? Okay. So if I'm good at, I don't know, doing something and they're
Plumbing.
good. If I'm good at plumbing and they're good at yard work, then we trade services.
Right.
Is that what you mean by that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll go rake your leaves if you'll,
Okay.
install a, I don't know, soft water system or whatever. Maybe that's not an equal trade. I don't know, but
Yeah.
you get the idea. Or maybe it could be, I'll rake your leaves if you watch, our child for the evening,
Yeah. Or
you know,
maybe you watch each other's children and trade off that way as
Yeah.
well. I think that's a really cool way to do it. If
Mhm.
you have friends whose children are about the same age, you can trade off,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then you and your spouse can go on a
Mhm.
date because you got to date your spouse.
That's right. That's
Mhm.
right. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I mean, hopefully, you withstood the silliness and the craziness that we sometimes have. But really the point of this again, I mean, money's important. It's part of life and it's a big deal. And so
Yeah.
we need to again be great stewards of it. I mean, that's what God calls us to do. Is really
Mhm.
we're just managing his money.
Mhm.
He owns it all, right? I
Right.
mean, yeah.
Yep.
And
He owns a
so
cattle on 1,000 hills.
that's right.
Maybe
And
he'll sell one for you.
right.
That's like the Heather version.
Right. Yeah. The gospel according to Heather.
Mhm,
So
mhm. I used to say that when I was broke. Like,
mhm.
well, God. So I have digressed.
Yeah. So we're going to wrap up, but make sure you subscribe to this podcast if you're hearing it on audio, Apple and some of the other platforms. We've also got a YouTube channel where if you're watching this on video, I mean, please hit that subscribe button,
Yes.
ring that bell that's there. That way you get to stay up to date with all the content, everything that we have. And then finally, we have a free resource.
Yes.
It's really a great guide on creating some financial goals.
I love it.
Yeah, we call it Goal Setting 301 because we've got a 101, 201, 301, 401.
Yeah.
But 301 is all about
The
finances.
finances, yeah. Because you've got to have goals for your finances. If you know that you need to fix some things or maybe you want to make some big purchases, you need to set that as a goal so that you don't just go do it now and charge it on the card. We
Mhm.
don't want you to do that, but you set it as a goal. You say, you know what, within 1 year, we're going to go ahead and replace that couch and chair, coffee table, whatever. This is approximately how much it's going to cost. And then you start socking some money away, stick it in that envelope. There's an envelope right there for you, or,
Mhm.
whatever that, and just save that money so that when the time comes, you're ready to do it. You've got the money to back that
Mhm.
up.
Yeah.
So
So
this
that's-
financial goal thing, I think it's going to be a cool tool that you
Yeah.
could use.
And we'll make
Mhm.
sure that we put links to
Yes.
subscriptions and also this free resource. It will be wherever you see or listen to this podcast. And I think with that, I think it's time to go get some food, but we're going to be careful and we're not going to spend a whole lot of money on the food.
No.
So well, take care until
Who's
next time.
drinking hot water with a ketchup packet? Call it
No,
tomato soup.
no.
I'm sorry. Okay, we're done.
All
We're
right.
done. We're
Take
done.
care.